So I spoke with a friend, and he told me that his cousin had been diagnosed with a form of stomach cancer, which is, of course, horrible. It really got me thinking about how much we just sleepwalk through life. How there's no guarantee how long we're going to be here. It's like that meme of the sand timer, and you can see how much sand has already come out, but how much sand is remaining is covered. So we have no idea how much sand is remaining, whether it's just drip feeding the last few grains of sand, or if there's a whole mountain of sand waiting still to be released. We all just assume that we have a lot more time to do the things that we want to do. We just think, let me just keep working for now, save a bit more, buy a house, fix up the house, rent the house out, and then I can go and travel or start my own business or do whatever it is that you've been dreaming to do. I've heard these things over and over again from multiple friends, and the sad reality is that it never works out that way. They do buy the house, but then they spend the next 5 years fixing the house up. Then once the house is ready, and the plan was to rent it out and get passive income and go and do their traveling, they don't do it. Now it becomes, oh, but I don't want somebody living in my house. They move the goalposts. But that's 5 years of your life have now passed. Those opportunities have disappeared. You are now 5 years older. Why do something tomorrow that I could do today? And I like that mentality. I like that philosophy, because that's kind of how I live. When I have a desire to go somewhere, do something, I just I just do it as soon as possible. There's no reason to wait. It's another reason why I only ever rent month to month with my rentals, because at the worst case situation, if I really want to leave the country tomorrow, I just lose 1 month of rent. Sure, it could be cheaper if I rent for 6 months or a year or 2 years, but I don't think it's worth it. The lock-in factor of renting for a year, knowing that you're now stuck in this one place, and now I have to completely change my philosophy and say, okay, in a year when my rent is over, then I'll go. And by then, life has already changed. Life doesn't care about your plans. It just does what it wants. Did you guys plan for COVID? Did you plan to spend almost 2 years locked up inside your house? No, but that's what happened. The other thing is we really need to stop being so attached to our beliefs. We have to understand that all of our opinions, all of our thoughts, they are just based on our environment, based on where we grew up, the media that we watched, the education that we had. Doesn't mean it's true. It just means that's the narrative that was pushed in our region of the world where we were born and where we grew up. For instance, my friend whose cousin got stomach cancer, she went to see the doctors in the UK a few months back and she had stomach pain, but they just reassured her, you're fine, just go home, rest, it'll go away. The pain got a lot worse. This is a story as old as time. We all have stories like this. She returned to the NHS, they did a scan, and that's when they realized, oh, sorry, turns out it's worse than we thought. And now, of course, to get treatment on the NHS, you have to go on a list. It takes a year. Even when you get that treatment, they're just going to give you the minimum. They're not going to give you all the scans you need, all the tests you need on the same day. You've got to make appointments. You've got to see specialists. This takes months and months and months. By then, your survival rate can be massively different compared to getting the treatment 6 months earlier or a year earlier. I recently saw a TikTok of a British girl who was having the same problems in the UK, couldn't get a scan, couldn't get the treatment she needed. So she flew to China, and on the same day, she got 5, 6 different scans, got the treatment she needed, got surgery on the same day. She couldn't believe it. She talks about how amazing the quality of the service was, how amazing the medical attention was, and the cost as well, right? And that she had no idea that China had this kind of capabilities. So I mentioned that to my friend, and I said, maybe your cousin should go to China and just get the treatment she needs. And it wasn't even acknowledged, as if it was the craziest idea in the world, as if just dismissed out of hand, as if no, why would I go to China when I'm already in London with the best medical service in the world, even though we all know how bad the NHS is. It's great that it's free, but you also get free results. And the problem is that he's never been to China. his idea of how life is in China is completely skewed by media reportings, right? All I say to you guys is go and see places for yourself. Go and understand it yourself. I lived in China for 6 months. I had the same misconceptions that the rest of you guys have. I thought they were poor. I thought it was a dictatorship and it's super oppressed and you can't say anything and you can't do anything. You can't cross the road or you get taken to jail. Or if you say anything to anyone, you've got to be very careful or the police will show up at your door. Nonsense, guys. It's nothing like any of this. I was stunned what a good quality of life China is and how much more prosperous it is than it was in Europe and how much more they've developed. Not only like developed for China, but I mean like far more developed than Europe, far more developed than the UK, far more cleaner than UK, better like infrastructure, better newer cars, nicer buildings. And I had a bit of a health scare while I was in China, so I have actual experience of going to the hospital. And this wasn't like a tier 1 hospital. I was living in a small village up in the mountains, and even their hospital was better service than I've ever had ever in England. I needed an MRI. There's no like questions or, oh, we don't think you need it, or no, 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 no. You want MRI? Sure, it's $50. $50? Yeah, no problem. I paid the $50, done. Within an hour, I'm inside the MRI, and an hour later, I've got the scans and I'm sitting with a doctor and he's explaining to me exactly the situation. It's unbelievable. Imagine trying to go to your hospital in London and asking for an MRI, even if you're willing to pay for it. Number one, you're paying a fortune if they'll even give it to you, which they won't. And number two is like, yeah, sorry, our MRI is booked up for the next 7 months. I can make you an appointment if you like. It's going to cost you £1,000. It's crazy, guys. You have to realize your opinions are not your opinions. It's just from what you've learned from the media. You've never been to China. You've never been to Southeast Asia. You don't realize that they have a much better quality of life. And of course, it's in the interest of Western media to make up stories to scare you and to make you think that their life is worse than yours. Because imagine if you understood that you earn double their money, you pay double their tax, and you get nothing for it. Each generation, their life is better than the previous generation here. How many of you can say that back home in Europe? Now, I don't love being the guy who's always like bashing Europe. I love Europe. You know, I'm a Londoner, guys. London's my home. But I also have common sense. I want to live the best life I can live. I only have 80 to 100 years on this earth if I'm the luckiest man on earth. In reality, maybe 60 or 70. So I don't want to waste that time living an inferior life if I don't have to. I spent my teenage years and my early 20s being poor, grinding in London. I've done that. I used to think that there was no better life that I could get apart from London. But that's because I hadn't seen anything else. Literally, ever since I left London, my life just got better. So please, guys, have a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing. Go see things for yourself, experience for yourself, then make your decisions. And please, don't wait. Go and enjoy life. You really don't know how much longer you have left. I don't know how much longer I have left. So I live like every year is my last year. Having said that, I'm thinking of doing the Camino Santiago in maybe late April. I've always wanted to go and do, you know, the 30-day walking along the coast of Spain, all the way from like Bilbao or San Sebastian, stopping in these small villages, walking along the coastline, up in the forest, just you, a backpack, and the road. 30 days of non-stop walking. I think it'd be amazing. I think it'd be really a good experience to have space to think, to calm my mind, and to also the physical challenge, of course, and maybe just to meet some lost gypsy travelers along the way and feel a bit more of a connection and simplify life again. What do you guys think? Is anybody else interested in doing the Camino Santiago? Maybe we can join forces and go and do it. It's always better when you're with others. All right, guys, that's it for today. Catch you soon. Stay healthy.